Hi, everybody, and welcome back to this week's episode of Our Golden 20s. My name is Teagan, and I'm here with Sadie, and we're just here to talk about all things your 20s.
Life. Yeah. Life in your 20s. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so before we get to like the main episode, I wanted to ask you, Sadie, if you watched the Friends reunion.
If I watched the Friends reunion, of course I watched the Friends reunion. Oh my god, I loved it so much. Like, for people who don't know me in real life, I'm a very big Friends fan. I'm watching it literally all the time. Like, I don't even know how many times I've seen the entire series. Like, I think one of the stats on the show is like, the show has been streamed over 200 billion times. I was like, probably 1 million of those have literally been just me. Like, I feel like every Friends fan feels that way, but it's just my comfort show. I turn it on when I'm like tired, when I'm super energetic, when I'm like happy, when I'm sad, when I'm drunk, when I'm sober. Like, it's always playing. So I was so excited for the reunion. And I thought it was amazing. I did not think it disappointed in any way. What did you think, Tag?
I feel like if you're a Friends fan, you'd like it. And if you're not a Friends fan, you will not like it. Like, I feel like it didn't bring any sort of like revolutionary information to light.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the bloopers I had like seen before. And I'm not like a mega Friends fan by any means. Like, I've watched it and I enjoy it. So I was like, I feel like if I know this, like super fans probably have already seen it. And I like James Corden, I just don't understand why he was there. That made no sense to me at all. Like, I was like, why of all people, like, you could have picked someone from the 90s, like literally, or like an American, not just randomly James Corden. So I thought that was so strange. Literally, as soon as we started it, both my husband and I like groaned, and he was like, "Oh, he's in this."
Oh my
So that was a letdown.
That's funny. I feel like I like James Corden, so I wasn't bothered by it at all. And I also knew he was like hosting the interview part. I think he's just like, he was selected just because he's like
a host.
Interviewer. Yeah, like a host. So it'd be like the same as like, well, no, not quite the same, but it'd be like why Oprah would be there interviewing them. You know, it's just like an iconic interviewer. Not saying that James Corden is Oprah level, but you get the point.
Yeah, so that was already, I don't know, I did like it, and we were like laughing, and it was very like heartwarming. Like I said, if you like Friends, you'd probably like it.
Yeah,
but.
And I do think like my favorite parts were like their table readings, you know, like seeing them try to get back into the characters 17 years later. And also just like them reliving their moments, like memories and stuff. Like, I think, like you're saying, Tag, if you're like a huge Friends fan, you'll feel like you're just reliving those memories with them. You know, where if you're not, you're just like, okay, yeah, this is nice, I guess. But I was literally sobbing the entire time because I just like felt so connected to it. And I watched it with my mom, and I was warned her ahead of time. I was like, Mom, I get emotional at the trailers, so I'm like going to be emotional watching this. And already I'm just an emotional person, so my mom wasn't surprised. But luckily she was also like crying with me, so I wasn't just like a huge loser. So funny. I do recommend it though to those Friends fans out there. You will love it. Yeah.
What was going on with Matthew Perry? I know like his people said he had dental surgery, but I don't know. Something sus was happening. Yeah.
Yeah, he's messed up from like substance abuse and stuff. So
I know he said he wasn't like his Friends years weren't his happiest, but that I think maybe that's why I was disappointed too, because like Chandler's my favorite, and then to see him there with like so low energy and just to seem so like unhappy was kind of a bummer. But
I found it so interesting when he was saying how he would like go crazy when he wouldn't get the laughs he was looking for. I was like, that is literally probably what drove him to like such a crazy like substance abuse story. Like super sad, but I was like, and all the friends there were like, all the like other people there were like, we didn't even know that about you. Like, what? And we're like caught off guard. I was like, guys, I've been watching this show forever. I know the backstory. This checks out.
Yeah. No, it was fun. It's a cute, like,
yeah,
cute little watch.
Totally. My favorite part too, and I think like you have to be like a big Friends fan to appreciate this, is like just like the most ridiculous people they brought back, like from the original show. Like Joey's hand twin. That one got me so much. I was like, what the hell? Like what? Like they still have contact with this person, like they brought him back. And obviously Richard, I was so happy to see him. But the Geller parents, oh my God, when I saw them, I was literally in tears. It was just so good.
Oh, it was weird. Jennifer Aniston called Brad Pitt Pitt. She was like, oh yeah, remember we had Pitt on the show? And I was like, that's weird that you call him Pitt.
Well, I heard Matt LeBlanc be like, yeah, and Jen, we had your man. And then I feel like she just was like yeah, Pitt.
Yeah.
Identify your men by their last names.
No George Clooney shout out. He has a cameo in one episode.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Yeah, so many people they could have brought back. Like I was thinking the same, but whatever. It was so good.
Yeah, now we'll like check back with like the Gossip Girl reboot later and then the Sex and the City reboot, and we'll be
honestly, yeah, if you guys want full episodes of us discussing these, I'm happy to do it. Because I will be watching.
Yeah, there's a podcast out there I've just discovered, and it's called The Movies That Raised Us. And it's two girls talking about like all the 90s and early 2000s chick flicks they watched, and they'll have a movie of the week. It's really cute. So if you are a connoisseur of the early 2000s, like Sadie and I, then it's definitely a good one to check out, because they'll be talking about movies that I completely forgot existed.
Oh my gosh, that sounds awesome. It's fun. Yeah, okay, I have to check that out.
Yeah, so that could be us.
Yeah.
If that's what the listeners want.
Yeah, bring them on as guests. Like, how fun would that be? Just like...
Yeah, that'd be sick.
A whole bunch of people just chatting movies. And
yep.
That's the other thing with Friends. And I feel like it's very nostalgic for me. Same even with Gossip Girl. And like why I'm so like emotionally attached is because I just remember... Like, I remember watching the Friends finale on TV because my mom watched it every Thursday night. Right. And I remember watching it, I guess I was like 12 years old or however old I was. That's really bad math. I'm 25 now, 17. Do the math. But anyways, I was young, but I remember it so clearly. And I remember like my mom being like emotionally invested in this like series finale. And same with Gossip Girl. Like I remember I would watch it in high school in my parents' room because they had the TV in there, and they would always be downstairs watching TV, watching whatever they wanted to watch. Right. And it was just like Monday nights, Gossip Girl night. I was like in my parents' bed with snacks watching Gossip Girl. And it was just like, I revert back to that time in my life, which wasn't maybe the best time in my life, but like watching those shows, I don't know. It's just so nostalgic. And I think that's why I love it and get so excited and emotionally invested.
Yeah. I definitely did not have the same Friends experience. Like I didn't watch it until I was like the age of the friends in it.
Yeah.
But I do like it. Like I think that it's a good show.
Yeah.
Which I don't say a lot about a lot of shows, but I feel like season like 2 and 3 are like really, really solid television seasons. So
yeah.
That's
amazing.
What I'll say. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that was a great way. Honestly, I'm feeling like kind of low energy today and just like pretty tired. So I'm feeling like hyped up after opening the episode this way. So this is great. I'm like ready to talk about my life in my 20s with my friends. So let's just chat it through.
All right. So before we get into basically what we wanted to do this episode is we wanted to kind of reflect on our goals overall because, you know, coming into June, we're halfway through the year. But before we kind of get into that, we thought we'd do a Tuesday tip for you guys. So Sadie, do you want to share your tip?
Yeah, 100%. So I think my tip kind of goes in line with the whole like reflecting on your goals and like using this kind of like mid-year check-in like as our theme here. So my tip is a little mantra I've been saying to myself, and saying to my friends, my family, anybody who's like confiding in me as they like do or make like tougher decisions or stepping outside of their comfort zone. So the little mantra is, if you wait until you're ready, you could be waiting forever. And I don't know if this is like something that exists, if I heard it somewhere at some time, if I saw it online somewhere, but just a few months ago, it just kind of like popped up in my head and I was repeating it to myself so much. And we'll kind of get there, but it was during a time where I was like reflecting on some of the goals I set for this coming year, like 2021, and just feeling like I wasn't making progress on them. And then I was trying to decide why I wasn't making progress on them. And it was basically I just felt like I wasn't ready to work on it, or I wasn't ready to make a lifestyle change, or I wasn't ready to do it. And then it just kind of dawned on me where I was like, why wait until you're ready? Like, I think of some of, here we go, I'm already getting like deep in my feels, but like I think of some of like the most transformational like times in my life, like for instance, leaving home, going to school. Like you don't really feel ready for that, and you can't be ready for that, but you just do it, and then you're just so glad you do it, and you figure it out along the way. So I was saying this to like my sister when she bought her house. Like she was like, it's just so crazy, like that's just so much money, and it just feels like such an adult purchase. And like, well, it is, but she's like, I just don't feel like I'm like an adult, like I'm not ready to do that. But this was something I could say to her. One of my friends is moving out on her own for the first time, so I said this to her. And it's just like could literally be applied to so many different aspects of your life. So if you wait until you're ready, you could be waiting forever. Just do it now. Whatever it is, do it now.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah. What's your Tuesday tip?
Mine I feel like is kind of similar, but maybe different. I don't know. But basically, my tip is something that I've been trying to apply to my life, which I feel like I've enjoyed the rewards from it. So that's why I wanted to bring it up. Yeah. But it's the idea of don't waste your time on things that don't feel good, which is simplistic. And like, obviously, like doing my taxes doesn't feel good, but you still have to do your taxes. What I mean by don't waste your time on things that don't feel good is like if you get a book and you're 45 pages in and you are hating it, girl, don't read the book. If you are like 3 episodes into a TV show that everyone says they love and you are hating it, like that's fine. Just stop watching the show. Same with if you think you're in your perfect job or you're hanging out with people that don't make you feel good. Like, this is your life, and you're wasting your valuable time doing stuff for no reason. Like, It doesn't matter. If you, like, bought a book for $30 and now you hate it, and you're, like, all you're gonna do is end up, like, clogging up your time doing something you don't enjoy. And so I used to find that, like, I never thought of myself as a reader because I would read, like, 5 books and was never that into it. But I've realized it was because I would be like getting stuck on a book that I didn't enjoy and just stalling out and stopping reading. And I feel like this happens, say, with exercise, where people are like, I'm going to be a runner, and you really, really hate running, so you give it up and then you just do no exercise. Yeah. So it's like, if it's not working for you, who cares? Try something else. Like, the stakes aren't that high, really, if you think about it. Yeah. So that's my tip.
I love that. And I love that you said it's so simple. And it's like, yeah, it is simple. So why do we overcomplicate it so much? You know what I mean? Like, we literally put that pressure on ourselves, like,
exactly,
to fit in or to do stuff or read something, watch something, just because that's what everyone else is doing. But it's like, if you don't like it, you don't owe it to anybody. Like, just stop.
Yeah, you're your own person. This is your life. I saw something on TikTok that was like, think of the universe as your host, and you're at a dinner party and you spill a glass of red wine. If the host freaks out and is like, oh my God, you spilled red wine everywhere, you're going to feel really bad. But that's not what the universe is like. They would be the host that'd be like, psh, yeah, whatever. Who cares? Because, like, it doesn't matter. You are only applying these things to yourself. If you don't finish this one random book, no one else in your life is going to notice or care. And the same with if you try to be a runner and you hate it and you're like, okay, I'm not running. no one's going to be like, girl, why are you not running? Like, the universe is indifferent. Most people in your life are indifferent. So you should just do things that you want to do.
Yeah. And I also think, like, this is, like, my number one philosophy in life is, like, as soon as you just, like, start being yourself and you're happy with who you are and you're proud of who you are, and obviously that means doing things that you genuinely enjoy doing, you really empower people around you to be who they are as well. You know, if you're authentic to yourself, you're encouraging and empowering your friends to be authentic to themselves without even knowing it. And I think people don't really realize that until they just throw their hands up one day and are just like, whatever, I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. And all of a sudden people are drawn to them because they're like, yes, girl, you just do you. And like, that encourages me to do me. And it's just like this really positive, like, fallout from it, which I feel like people don't really think about. So throwing that out there as well. Once you feel good, you encourage other people to feel good.
Yep. I love it. So, speaking of feeling good, do you want to talk about some goals we're setting, achieving?
Yeah, for sure. So, I think we kind of have two parts here. So, first, this episode's dropping June 1st. So, just some monthly goal chats, which we do every month. And then after this, we can maybe do like a 2021 goal check-in kind of situation. But starting with my monthly goals. So, you guys, I'm so excited. Like, official as of today, I'm going to be doing an exercise program with Hello Sarah, who was on our podcast a few episodes ago. If you haven't listened to our chat with her, go give that episode a listen. She has some really great tips all about like feeling your best and being your strongest self for obviously reasons outside of just losing weight and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Plus, she also gives some like tips on diet and whatnot. So after talking with her, I think that episode dropped in April, and part of our April Glow Up Challenge, I also like tried to prioritize fitness a little bit. So ever since April, I've been feeling like really energized with fitness and like exercise, like regular exercise. And I also think like the summer weather has like positively influenced that as well. As soon as the sun is shining, I'm like, I want to drink lemon water and go for a run and then come home and do yoga. Like, I just feel so energized. So that's been contributing to it as well. But I just loved Sarah. I thought she was so like motivational, and just the things she said really resonated with me. And I loved how she really dives deep into like food and nutrition. So I'm going to be working with her through the month of June on a 4-week program. I think it's like $225 for 4 weeks. So it's really not that expensive considering all the other like exercise programs out there. And then you kind of get to like keep the program that you do in 4 weeks, and you could just like repeat it yourself, or you can extend your program with her. Like, it's very flexible. So I'm so excited to start doing that the month of June. Want to be my best, strongest self for once we're like out of lockdown. Then the other things on my on my June goals. Okay, so I was tripping over my words because my next goal is to do one thing from my summer bucket list every weekend. So I've added some smaller items to the bucket list I shared in last week's episode, and just want to like tackle one of those things every weekend just to like change it up. And I think this kind of goes back to another episode. All the stars aligning in this one.
Yeah.
Of like changing up your routine, finding hobbies, doing something fun. That isn't just like work related or side hustle or whatever. So that is another big goal for June, is to tackle a bucket list item every weekend.
Nice.
I also have to read a novel. So this will go kind of in hand with my 2021 goals, but I want to read one book a month. So I've kind of fallen off track. So I want to make sure I read a whole novel in June. And then last June goal is to hopefully write my G1 test. So you guys know I've been talking about my driver's license forever, but the places have been closed with our stay-at-home order in Ontario. So it was like I was hoping to write it in May, but it'll have to wait until June when things open up again.
Nice.
So those are my June goals. What about yours, Tay?
Love it. So my goals are kind of less, like, what's the word? Like, less trackable, I guess.
Okay.
So basically, I recently lost my job, for the listeners who don't know me personally. And so this is the third time that that's happened. So I like to think that I'm a pro at this. And so I'm kind of wanting to take some time to reflect on what I want and see if I want to go back to freelancing. I mean, I'm already freelancing now just because, like, you need money.
Yeah.
But I need to decide if I want to continue to do freelancing, if I want to try and look for a 9-to-5, if I want to join the union. I don't know. And I need to, like, spend some time thinking about it. So that's basically one of my goals. Another goal is to reestablish some of my routines, because once you lose that you're working from this hour to this hour, Monday to Friday, your routines go out the window.
Totally.
So trying to get those back on track and trying to reframe my thinking to be more positive, which I think will come with reestablishing my routines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I was like practicing mindfulness and journaling and exercising, and that's like completely gone out the window. So hopefully I get back to doing that. And hopefully that makes me more positive, but who knows?
Yeah. Honestly, I love that. And I feel like this episode was just like the perfect timing for both of us, but for you especially, where it's just like, let's just talk about, what the last 6 months were. Let's talk about what we want the next 6 months to be. Like, I think this whole mid-year review, like, I love that just because I'm like a nerd. But like, I think it's just such a good like time to reflect. And I think, Tag, like you're saying, you've had like this big lifestyle change of losing your job. So I think with any lifestyle change though, like, you do have to reestablish your routine, and you do need to like find new motivations and like kind of work with this like curveballs life throws your way kind of thing. So I think probably a lot of our listeners are in the same boat and taking on like a new season. Like, people are probably wanting to reestablish routines, you know, with brighter mornings, longer days. Like, I think we're definitely all in the same boat and cheering you on, supporting each other.
Yeah, especially even if people are in school and now their school year is coming to an end. It's like, okay, well, I was so productive during the school year. How do I like bring some of that into my summer?
Yeah. So. And I think on the whole like topic of routines, for me, I just have like a morning and night routine. What I do through the day, it's like, meh, whatever. You know, like I'll plan out my week and like write tasks. But if I some days go for a walk at lunch, or if I some days just like watch a TV show my entire lunch hour, like whatever, I give myself a break. But it's like, as long as I start and end my days in a like routine way, like you said, I just feel good about it. I feel like in control. I feel positive. So that would be a great place for listeners to start. Like you said, if they're going through like a job change, going through school to summer, lifestyle change, focus on those two routines, or at least one of them, and the rest will definitely fall into place.
Awesome. So outside of like the month of June, I feel like we should maybe revisit our goals that we set in the very first episode of this podcast. Don't go and listen to it because
it's cringy.
Yeah, the quality I think has definitely improved. Let's say that. If that was a goal we wanted to achieve, we can check that off, because being better than episode 1, we have done. What was your kind of like yearly goal that you set out in that first episode?
Yeah. So my theme for 2021 is to level up, and level up like all aspects of my life, from my routines as well to my job. I wanted to get promoted. I wanted to get my driver's license. I wanted to get a pet. Like, those were kind of my 3 big, I call them my 3 Ps, because like I said, huge loser, and I give the listeners something nerdy about me every week. So it's like 3 Ps. We got promoted, pet, and permit, even though we don't really call it a driver's permit in Canada. Whatever. Sounds nice. So those are my 3 big goals of the year. And just like thinking back on 2021, the first 6 months of the year, Honestly, I think I voiced this earlier. I'm a super goal-oriented person. Obviously, I feel like I'm like pretty optimistic and upbeat most of the time. But to be totally transparent with you guys, like I did not achieve any of my goals until like the beginning of May. It was like a really slow start to the year. And at first I was like really down on myself about it, just like, come on, find the energy, come on, let's go. Like, you're wasting time away, you know, like this year is going to be what you make of it. And then probably like maybe mid-February I just flipped a switch where I was like, girl, you just need to survive. Like, if you come out of the other side of this whole pandemic and you're still got like a sane head on your shoulders, that's a success. Like, you don't need to be crushing all these goals. So I just honestly took the whole like winter, spring months to just chill. To do this podcast with Teagan has been like the highlight of 2021. And it wasn't even a goal. One of my goals was to kind of, this is a goal every year, and I feel people like millennials and Gen Z, this is relatable. But I just wanted to like focus on my personal brand and try to level that up in a way, and I feel like the podcast is tied to that. But honestly, the podcast has been bringing me so much joy this year, but everything else in my life has been really quiet and is just starting to amp up now. So yeah. What about you, Tag? What was your 2021 theme?
So in the podcast, I said that my theme was to live my best life. And I genuinely do not know what that means as far as like, like maybe I'm doing that. I don't know. Like my theme in 2020 was to prioritize myself. And so I guess living my best life was to continue to do that and just live it. I don't know.
I love that.
Yeah. And so I feel like there are parts of my life where maybe I'm living my best life. But you know, can always be striving to live it better, I guess.
And I think too, it's kind of going back to what you were saying earlier, is I feel like this year you're just like dedicated to being like unapologetically yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like you've talked to us on the podcast about like cutting out toxic people, reestablishing routines. And I feel like all of those things are like enabling you to live your best life. So
yeah,
I know it's kind of like you said, like, what does this mean? But I feel like you're actually doing that to a T.
Thanks. Yeah, I think how I'm going to interpret this for the next 6 months is doing things that make me happy, because why not?
Yeah.
Like, as I was saying at like the beginning, the universe is indifferent, and maybe this sounds negative, but like there's no like point to anything. So why don't you just do all of the like extra amazing fun things that you want to do? Because like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, if you're just living your most boring life, no one cares. If you're living your most exciting life, no one cares. So why wouldn't you be like, yeah, I'm going to live my most exciting life?
Exactly.
So
I love that.
That's how I'll interpret that.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And I think, like you said, your June goals really set you up to enjoy the rest of 2021 to the fullest. So I think this is all lining up better than you had thought it would.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It is also my birthday. So maybe I'll be like, ooh, new year, transformation, let's go.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, that's so exciting.
But I feel like that's maybe why I'm feeling... I wish I knew more about astrology, but maybe that's why I'm feeling like I need to reflect and actually figure out what's going on, is because it's like lining up with a new year.
Yeah.
For me.
That definitely could be. Yeah. Awesome. I love that. And honestly, guys, I think, like Teg, you're saying, like, you're feeling like it's time to reflect and like it's time to like, you know, map out a plan or like, you know, think about things a little bit deeper than just on the day-to-day, and you're rolling with it. And for me, like, I'm feeling this energy towards exercising, so I was like, why the heck not do an exercise program? Like, I'm just rolling with it. So I think that's another thing, especially on this whole like idea of just doing what makes you happy, is like if there's something in your life, even if it feels like really random right now, and you're like, I don't know why, but I'm really excited about this. Like maybe for the listeners, it's like work related, or maybe it's like you're just feeling like excited about socializing again. Like I don't know what it is, but it's like just roll with it. Like don't try to force it to be what is getting your friend excited or your sister or your brother. Like just roll with it, guys. That's how we'll live our best lives together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So throughout the rest of the year, what are you going to do to kind of like keep you on track, to keep you inspired and motivated, do you think?
Well, okay, so also since April, I've been doing a lot of journaling. I've had it, I think, like twice now. Since the April Glow Up Challenge, I've had like a monthly goal of journaling at least once a week. And I find I've been journaling way more. Just like even like 2-3 times a week. And I'm just like, who is this girl? But I just seem to have a lot of like thoughts in my head. And I feel like that's been really contributing to me staying committed or keeping my goals top of mind. Is like as soon as I do feel anything or think something, I write it down, and it just, like I said, holds me accountable, but also just like keeps me pumped up. So I don't know, I think I'll just keep journaling because that really does it for me. And also I think this podcast honestly does keep me motivated, like I said, like, and it inspires me because like even like I said earlier today, I was feeling so sluggish and tired. And then we started talking and I was just like, yes, let's talk about living your best life because like I love it. And it really inspires me to live my best life too. So I think part of my morning routine, and it's kind of fallen off actually, was to listen to other podcasts as well. Because I used to listen to a podcast on my commute to work every morning, but as soon as I stopped commuting, I stopped listening to podcasts. So I've been trying to work those back in, and those always get me so amped up and just give me like different perspectives and like different things to think about, different little mantras to implement into my life. So I feel like that I just want to keep listening to podcasts, keep reading books, crushing my reading goals, keep talking to you guys about my life and reflecting on it in my journal. And I feel all of that's going to keep me inspired and keep me motivated.
Yeah, there are a lot of great little podcasts like that are like 5 minutes long, and they're supposed to be like you listen to them when you make your bed and stuff like that. Like I feel like if people are overwhelmed with like, I don't want to listen to like a full hour long podcast, you know, you can find the like little ways to slot it in.
Totally. Yeah, I love that. And actually on that kind of note, we could maybe do like a podcast roundup of like some of our favorite podcasts, especially for like living your best life or whatever. But also just like I have no, maybe this isn't the right place to do this. I was gonna plug a book to read, 2 books that I like swear by. Ooh, and I always read to like get me like amped up. Okay, so the first one is kind of a cliche, and maybe not everybody will love it, but it's You Are a Badass, and I forget the author of it right now. Jen something?
I was just picturing you saying, like, one book that always gets me amped up and inspires me is the Bible. And
no.
That's not on brand for Sadie.
No.
I was just picturing
and it. Is the Bible?
How out of pocket, yeah.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so number 1 book recommendation that always gets me amped up is You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. Sincero is her last name. It's like a bright yellow cover. You've definitely seen this before. But just the way she like thinks about things and talks about things, it was very much like you said, Tig. It's like, well, why not do this? And like whatever. So I just loved that. I thought that book was probably actually what got me into like self-improvement and like self-help books. And then the second book that I always recommend, and I think it's literally like the best self-help book ever, is The Motivation Manifesto, and it's by Brennan Burchard. So we can link it on our Insta or whatever. But this one is just like, so every single like basically line that I read in this book, I'm just like, yes, like it just resonates, and it is very kind of like written in like this like profound way. And I feel like maybe if you've read a few other self-help books, then read this one.
Right.
But I absolutely love this, and there's just so much good stuff like tucked in here. So anytime I'm like, I just need like a little burst of energy, I'll just like read even like a chapter or a few chapters of either of these books, and it gets me so amped up. And I have a few podcasts that get me amped up too, so we will definitely round those up on our Instagram.
Yeah. I also wanted to point out that, like, obviously, like, we talk to each other once a week and can be like, I did this on my goals, I did this, you know, and we like force ourselves to have a discussion around our reflections. This is a way that a therapist can positively impact your life, because that is a person, like, obviously, if you don't have a podcast, maybe you don't have anyone that you're telling your goals to, you can be like working with them, and they will be giving you homework about like, I want you to journal about this, this, and this, and you go back to them and reflect on it together. So if you maybe feel like you're lacking that person in your life, it could be a good reason to try and chat to a therapist. Or you can always DM us. I want to hear about your goal achievements.
100%. We're definitely not licensed therapists, but we are here to cheer you on and listen. And we definitely want to hear from you guys. So please feel free to DM us anytime at all.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I think, Tig, that's kind of like thinking about the next 6 months and like the idea of leveling up. So it's like, okay, cool. I want to level up like my healthy habits is maybe a better way to say that. So I started taking like a daily vitamin. That was like a smaller goal for the year. And that's like hard to definitely check off because it's, you know, requires like daily showing up for yourself. But I think working with Sarah will be a great way to like level up my healthy lifestyle. And then working with a therapist is definitely a goal for the next 6 months to level up just my mindset, you know.
Yeah.
I will literally go to my therapist and be like, listen, I'm doing this because I love self-growth. I love self-reflection. I'm a huge advocate for self-care. Therapy is the ultimate act of self-care. So it's about time I try it out.
Yeah, there's Oprah's new show on Apple is all about mental health, and it is so good. Have you been watching it? Oh, yeah.
No, so I don't have Apple TV.
Oh,
I need to. Do you know where else I can watch it? Is there anywhere else?
I don't
probably
think
not
so.
Because
it's an Apple original.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Yeah. Never.
I got Apple free with my watch for a year. Apple TV, so that's how I've been watching it. But it's really, really good. So basically, she will talk to like 6 or 7 or 8 like highly successful people about their mental health struggles or why they talk to therapists. And it's just really, really interesting. And the whole idea around it is to kind of like destigmatize mental health and destigmatize talking to a therapist. So like in the first episode, she talks to Prince Harry, and he talks about how he only started going to therapy like 3 years ago, even though he's like, I've had like severe trauma in my past. It just never was something I even thought about doing. And DeMar DeRozan from the Toronto Raptors, he appears in some episodes, and it's all kind of varying levels of mental illness. So there are some people that are like you wouldn't even be able to tell, and there are other people that it like severely impacts their day to day. And it just is them kind of talking about why they started going to therapy, how it positively impacted their life, and how they want to kind of talk more and more about their mental health struggles and how it's hard, but it's the brave thing to do if it inspires other people to kind of like open up about them. So yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I need to watch it. Are they releasing like episodes slowly, or is it like all of them are up?
I think so. Like the first 5 episodes are there, but then I saw like a new episode has been added. So I feel like they maybe put up a batch and then they're doing more and more. But like Oprah's such a good host. And she talks about, especially for her, because she like the mental health discussion has changed so much. Like she talks about how in her early episodes, she was like, would interview people who were saying they had anxiety. And she was like, I don't even know what that means. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Or she interviews someone that she was kind of mentoring who had severe PTSD. And she was like, I literally only thought soldiers could get PTSD. And so she was like, I don't even understand what you're saying. So it's also about her kind of learning and growing and learning how to support the people around her. So.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. It's
really
the
good.
Me You See. Is that what it's called?
The Me You Can't See.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot more sense. The Me You Can't See. Yes.
Yeah. No, but it's very good and very, like, it's kind of heavy. We've only watched like 2 episodes because it's like you don't want to like binge it. It's not, but it's very like inspirational and enlightening. Like, they were interviewing a girl who's going for like a gold medal, but she had severe OCD. So she was like, I couldn't sleep at night if I wasn't washing my hands the right way. So I'd wash my hands for 8 hours and wouldn't sleep. Meanwhile, she's like, here I am killing it, like going for the gold medal, and no one would ever know.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah. And there's just something about like seeing like you said, really successful people like dealing with these things. It makes you feel less alone. And sometimes you feel like you're just really small, so nobody cares, or like nobody can relate to you. But sometimes just like getting that perspective of like really successful people deal with a lot of these same issues, if not even more of them, but they still show up to be great in some way. They've still managed to find a way to work with it or whatever. Like, I think that would really inspire me.
Yeah, and it shows too, I think, that no matter how successful you are, no matter how rich and famous you are, if there's a part of you inside that needs healing, it's not going to fix it. So it's like, if you have mental health, like they talk about them as kind of like invisible scars. If you have these scars that aren't healed properly, like no amount of like, promotions or whatever, working out or, these things that have kind of been prescribed to fix, if you're depressed, just get up and go for a run. Like that kind of thinking, I think, is changing. And they talk about it. Like they interview a chef who won Chopped, and he's like, but that was the lowest moment of my life. And I couldn't embrace how exciting it was because I wasn't healed on the inside. So
yeah, I love that. And I think what's so awesome about being in our 20s is like right now we're dealing with like, 20 years or 25, 29, however old you are, like that many years of maybe trauma or like, that many years of life. That's what we need to heal from. And it's like, let's do that now and let's just continue to care for ourselves as we continue to go on. Because if we wait until we're like 40 or 60 to deal with those things, like they're only going to get worse. So it's kind of like, that's why I want to talk to a therapist now, is because I want to address those demons now, help heal them, and then also like help manage any new things that come up. I already have a relationship with a therapist who can help me work through them as they come. So like Teagan said, like you can't grow out of these things. You can't achieve like success that like makes your mental health like irrelevant. Like you have to deal with it. And being in your 20s, like now's a great time to start.
And we're all like, every single person is going through a traumatizing experience right now because we're going through a worldwide pandemic that hasn't happened in 100 years.
Yeah.
And that, I know, like for a lot of people, they think, well, I'm not, sick enough to warrant talking to a therapist, or I'm not sick enough to bring this up to my doctor. But we are all literally going through like this huge collective trauma right now. So it is 100% fine. Not to mention like us, I don't know if we're millennials or Gen Z. Maybe we're like zillennials, but
yeah, we're
like we've had a lot of trauma like through our whole lives. As like when we were 6, like 9/11 happened. That's insanely traumatizing. Like we've grown up through recessions. Like you are 100% warranted, even if you feel like, well, nothing bad happened in my childhood.
Yeah.
You're still going through a lot of shit.
Totally. And I even think of like social media, you know, and just like how people our age are like dealing with things that like our parents can't relate to, you know, or it's just like even if they feel small, these things can definitely like eat away at you, and like you can still talk about them, and there's nothing too small to not talk about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like talk about it all and you'll just feel so much better. That's why we started a podcast.
Yeah.
So funny. Yeah. Awesome. And then I have one other note here, and I think this will transition into the kind of last thing I wanted to include in this episode was journal prompts. So before I kind of get into specific journal prompts, something else that I think is going to help me in the rest of 2021, but also just kind of in life in general, is to identify what's stopping me from working towards a goal. So I think I already kind of mentioned I had that reflection at the beginning of the year, and that's kind of how I came up with my motto of if you wait until you're ready, you'll be waiting forever, because I realized I was stepping out of my comfort zone was what was stopping me from doing something. I think if you can, like, just like kind of take a moment, tap into yourself, like when you're reflecting on your year so far or what you want out of your future months, and I'll turn that kind of into a journal prompt. It's just like, what is stopping you from achieving those goals if you aren't achieving them, or what's getting in your way of living your best life? And really think about it. You know, it might be like names come to mind, like people in your life who are toxic and holding you back. It could be your job. It could be, you know, like literally anything. It could be just like personality traits you have. Like me, a big one that reoccurs for me is like my control freakness. Like, freakness isn't a word, but like, you know, that's what stops me from doing a lot of things. And like, I have to identify it in order to work with it. So something else I wanted to put out there, especially when you're thinking about how to stay motivated or how to stay inspired, how to keep crushing those goals or chasing them, is if you're not on that path, like figure out why and then try to work with it. Tag, are you good if I just like start reading out some journal prompts?
Yes, yeah. I'd love to hear.
Okay, cool. So I put together some journal prompts just like for me personally, like what I want to think about as I sit down to do this like mid-year reflection. And the first one I'm going to start with is, what are you proud of so far in 2021? And I specifically wrote, what are you proud of, instead of what goals have you accomplished? Because I think we have so much to be proud of, and even in like the everyday, that we maybe don't even think about until we sit down to like reflect on it. So like, I'm proud that I'm just, like I said, making it through another lockdown and not totally like upset, you know, like I have a lot of good days still, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of this podcast. Like I said, it wasn't a goal for me to have a podcast this year, but it just came up, and I'm so proud of us for doing this. So think about things you've accomplished. Think about habits you've established for yourself, if it's new good habits, if it's breaking bad old habits or old bad habits. Just think about what you've done this year that you're proud of. Okay, and then another prompt is, what do you want for the rest of this year? So that could be goals. If it's, you know, just restating goals you set at the beginning of 2021, just like reaffirming them for the back half of the year. If it's mindsets, if it's habits, even if it's just like, you know, like we said, like routines, just think about what you want for the rest of this year. And then, like I said, you could also go as far as talking about like, how are you going to achieve it, or what could possibly stand in your way of achieving those things. So you could get really deep with it, but I think listing out what you want for the rest of the year is the main key here. Use it kind of manifesting moment. If you believe in that or not, just write it down, and it's amazing what it could do. And then one that I saw, oh gosh, my dog might go crazy in a minute. Okay, and then the last prompt that I have, I actually saw on a social post of some sort, and it says, how have you been taking care of yourself so far this year? And I thought that was just such a great one, because it's not like listing necessarily like acts of intentional self-care, but it could just be, I gave myself a break for not achieving goals. Like that could be taking care of yourself. It could be establishing a skincare routine. I know, Tag, that was one for you. Like, talk about times that you've taken care of yourself, whether you meant to or not, and then you can establish, am I taking care of myself enough? Because maybe in that exercise you'll be like, honestly, nothing is coming to mind. Then it's like, that's kind of a problem, you know, like
Yeah.
you need to intentionally care for yourself in order to like be your best self, you know, in order to, you know, show up for yourself and to achieve your goals. So I thought that was a good one. How have you been taking care of yourself so far this year? So those are the three, I think those were three journal prompts. Then there's, of course, just like general ones you can think of. So, you know, what goals did you set for yourself? Definitely flip back and reflect on those. How are you progressing on those goals? Do you need to change any of those goals? List out new goals, you know, like those sorts of things. But hopefully this gives you guys somewhere to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like if you haven't started journaling, this is like a good time of the year. Like if you feel like you missed out in the beginning of the year and then you're like, oh, it's too late for me to start now, you know, like mid-year.
Yeah.
Give it a whirl.
I think that was one of your like wisdom, maybe it was a Tuesday tip in a past episode, was that it's never too early or too late to start taking care of yourself. Like you can't be like, oh, too late, like I missed the boat, I'll try again next year. Exactly. Like, no, you have time
like
now.
I didn't start using eye cream until it was too late, so why should I even use it? Like, what? Yeah, if you applied that to your day-to-day, it would make no sense. Like, if you skipped breakfast, you wouldn't be like, well, I skipped breakfast, so I guess I'll just skip lunch and dinner. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So, don't apply it to the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like with journaling, too, like, you don't have to have, like, the most beautiful journal in the world. Like, if you want to write this, like, on a scrap piece of paper and then, like, chuck it in the garbage, go ahead. If you want to write it, like, in the notes on your phone, if you want to write it in our DMs and then just be like, don't respond to this, this is me writing my goals. Like, you know, you can make it whatever you want, and there doesn't have to be the pressure to make it like, this is my journaling time in my fancy journal, and, you know, make it work 100%. For you.
Yeah, exactly. Do it in any way that makes you happy. Yeah, like Teagan started this episode with. Love it.
Exactly.
Love it so much. You also can choose how you want to reflect on this. Like, sometimes I write in full sentences. So it could be like, you know, I might list out. So if the prompt is, what are you proud of so far in 2021? I might start it with just saying, like, you know what, this year I haven't felt a lot of pride. I've just kind of let myself coast, you know, and I'll just like have a like paragraph of like reflection of whatever pops in my head. But then I will like do like a bullet list of like items of things I'm proud of, or what do you want for the rest of this year. Like, again, you can like write it however you want. If it's paragraphs, sentences, bullets, if it's doodles, you want to draw it instead of like write words. Like, do whatever you want, guys. Whatever works for you.
And I feel like too, if you want to swap out like words to switch the meaning, like I know me personally, I have a hard time with the word like proud. Like, what have you done to make yourself proud? And then it's like my brain goes blank. So it's like, swap it out and say like, what am I grateful for in 2021? Or, you know, like, you can make this as personalized as you want, because it's just for you. It's not for us. So if the phrasing isn't working, change it.
Yeah, I love that. That's so true. Yeah, because these were literally, like I said, prompts I wrote like for myself. But yeah, they're not going to resonate with everybody. So yeah, 100%. Customize it to be what works for you. This the moral of this episode, guys, is you do you. Yeah. We cheer for you, boo. And that's good.
Exactly. You are your own cheerleader, but we are your backup cheerleaders.
Yeah. You are Beyonce and we are your Kelly Rowlands and Michelle.
I don't like that.
I don't know Michelle's last name.
Yeah, I don't even know.
We're all our own Beyonces, and we just got our backup dancers here cheering us on. Yeah. Not saying that Kelly and Michelle were backup dancers, but...
Yeah, I feel like you are your Donna, and we are the Dynamos. Is that what they're even called? Dynamos? Donna and the Dynamos? From Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again.
Okay, I have no idea what you're talking about.
What?
I did not see... Wait, is this just like regular Mamma Mia?
No, Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, the sequel.
Okay, I don't think I saw that yet.
Oh my god.
I'm so sorry. I'll watch it. Like,
it's not good.
Tonight. Oh.
But maybe you'll like it.
Then why are you acting like I'm missing out so much?
Oh, because I love it. But as far as cinema goes,
oh, geez, girl, I'll love it too. Let's be honest.
Okay. It's about Donna, the mom in Mamma Mia. Yeah. It's about her hooking up with the 3 dads in the 70s.
Okay.
So good, and it's all the like ABBA songs that weren't in the first one.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe if I start watching it, I'll be like, oh yeah, maybe I did see this.
It's kind of new, sure like in the last 3 years.
Yeah. I'm usually the last one to watch any movies, so this checks out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix or something. But I went to see it with Tyrell, and we went at like a Friday at 9 p.m. and everyone else was like old white moms. And they were like drinking wine in the theater and singing along.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
It was intense. Yeah.
I feel like you and Tyrell would both be right at home there.
Yeah, Tyrell was questionable, but then he was like, no, this is great. He doesn't like ABBA that much, but we made it work.
That's so funny. Okay, well, I think that is great advice. Everybody just go watch that. Listen to some Beyonce.
Then you'll get my Donna and the Dynamos reference.
Yeah, perfect.
And it'll all work out. All right, well, thanks for listening to us ramble.
Oh, goodness. So funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we will drop a new episode. No. So we drop a new episode every Tuesday. And in between episodes, you can follow us on social media. We are on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Pinterest at Our Golden 20s. And we also launched our Patreon not too long ago, so you can support us on Patreon. We have $2, $6, and $10 tiers. A month? I was going to say tiers a month, but that doesn't make sense. But you know what I mean. We are on Patreon. So you can, like Teagan said, DM us, follow us, stay connected, and we will see you guys next Tuesday.
Bye.